Jasmine's baby girl was due soon, and she had such a big problem. She had no idea what to name her as she read up on different types of Igbo names online. Her ancestors had already visited her in a dream to reveal several Igbo names to her. She tossed and turned that night in bed. She was so excited to see her ancestors again that she could barely fall asleep. But then, she finally dozed off, and her ancestors came to her in another dream. Her ancestor told her that her daughter would bring light into the world, so she introduced her to several Igbo names so that she could select from to name her child. Her ancestor told her that her daughter must have an Igbo Nigerian name so that her name will continue to guide her throughout her life. But then, Jasmine asked, "Why do I have to have so many dreams about this?" Her ancestor replied, "Because years ago, I was the one who guided you to take an African ancestry DNA test so that you can find out that you are an Igbo Nigerian. I did that so that you could discover who you really are and you could give your child an Igbo name." So then, Jasmine said, "Okay, could you tell me some more Igbo names having to do with having God's grace and mercy in your life?" Her ancestors said, "Yes, I will reveal 3 more names to you." And then, a blinding flashing light suddenly whisked her away. Her ancestor said the first name is Ihomachukwu. So then, Jasmine asked, "And what does that name mean?" So then, her ancestor responded, "Ihu means face. Oma means good, positive, or favorable. So it's like Ihoma means to have a positive face or outlook or benefit on something. And Chukwu means God. So together, Ihoma Chukwu means God's favor." Jasmine said she likes that name a lot. But then she got a little bit more curious. She asked, "If I give my daughter the name Ihoma Chukwu, what type of personality traits will that give her?" So then her ancestor looked at her and said, "That's a great question. Ihoma Chukwu's names give them the power to be bubbly, positive, and charismatic." Jasmine says she likes that name a lot. She remembered all the times in her life when her God-given, charming personality had brought God's favor into her life. If she named her daughter Ihoma Chukwu, this would be a great way to imbue her daughter with her charming personality so that she too could be a great people person and continue to receive all the benefits and gifts that God has for people who really know how to connect with others. Jasmine then asked her ancestor, "Are there more names too?" Her ancestor said, "Yes." And then a blinding flash of light suddenly whisked her away. Her ancestor said the second name is Gamarachimde. So then Jasmine asked, "And what does that name mean?" So then her ancestor responded, "Ga means how, Amara means grace, and Chi means God. And that M sound at the end means you are saying, my God. So Chim and then Di means is. So together, Gamara Chimde means how great is my God's grace." Jasmine said she likes that name too. But then she got a little bit more curious. She asked, "If I give my daughter the name Gamara Chimde, what type of personality traits will that give her?" So then her ancestor looked at her and said, "That's a great question. Gamara Chimde's names give them the power to have unshakable self-esteem, high levels of ambition, and a bold spirit." Since they always feel the presence of God's support in their lives, they're fearless and live full and exciting lives. Jasmine says she likes that name a lot. She remembered all the times in her life when feeling God's presence in her life gave her the boost that she needed to take risks and go for what she wanted. If she named her daughter Kamarachimde, this would be a great way to give her daughter unshakable confidence in knowing that God is on her side. Jasmine then asked her ancestor, "Are there more names too?" Her ancestor said yes. And then a blinding flash of light suddenly whisked her away. Her ancestor said the third name is Kamarachi Zoranye. So then Jasmine asked, "And what does that name mean?" So then her ancestor responded, "Ka," in this context means something like so, may, or legs. Amara means grace. Chi means God. Zoro means to be enough. And Anye means us. So together, Kamarachi Zoranye means let the grace of God be sufficient for us. Jasmine says she likes that name too, but then she got a little bit more curious. She asked, if I give my daughter the name Kamarachi Zoranye, what type of personality traits will that give her? So then her ancestor looked at her and said, that's a great question. Kamarachi Zoranye's names give them the power to be motivational, resourceful, and very adept leaders. Jasmine says she likes that name a lot. She remembered all the times in her life when she had to remind herself that God's grace was sufficient in the face of hardship. If she named her daughter Kamarachi Zoranye, this would be a great way to continue to remind herself of God's everlasting grace. And then Jasmine says, this all sounds great. I think I'm ready to make my decision now. But then her ancestors said, wait, you can't make your decision yet until you have the next dream. You have to know all the names before you're able to decide which one is the best out of the ones you've seen. But for now, it's time to wake up. I'll visit you in another dream tomorrow so that we can continue. Watch the next episode to see what happens to Jasmine.